All right, Drew Brees goes on a show, and they ask him about like kneeling and stuff, and he says that the same old tired answer that says, kneeling is disrespectful to the flag, and my grandparents were in World War II, so I think no one should kneel. And you understand people have these opinions. You understand people grow up ignorant to what's actually happening in the world outside of their bubble, right? And so ignorant that they refuse to listen and learn. You would not expect Drew Brees, who plays in the NFL and 70% of his teammates are black and plays in New Orleans, which is 60%, I think, black community.
65 was the number out.
65. Yeah. You would not expect Drew Brees to have never listened. You would think if there was anyone who is submerged in a culture where they have listened and heard and understand that the kneeling that Cap did, which was suggested by a soldier, was in no way disrespecting the flag or the troops at all. And a lot of people were like, hey, Drew Brees, there was a lot of black soldiers in World War II. It wasn't just white soldiers. So you would just think, I understand people still have those thoughts, and you would just think Drew Brees would be someone who kind of understands what was happening. The fact that he didn't or doesn't means he never listened. He never learned. He never asked. He never sought to understand or to hear what his black teammates were probably trying to tell him. And that's where it's like, huh? I understand the person growing up in a 99% white community with white parents and white grandparents and white great-grandparents. And, Southbury, Connecticut, there was like one black kid came to our high school and everyone knew his name instantly because he was the one black kid in high school, And there's a shitty ignorance that comes from growing up in that society that you have to break out of yourself when you're an adult and go travel and go listen and learn. Drew Brees had it forced down him, dude. How does he never input all that? That's where it sucks.
Well, and that's where I think this can be a good example. And I hope Drew Brees can lean into it properly, better than just uploading the stock image of a white person and a black person embracing arms, which was part of his apology. But Jim, it's the idea that, Drew Brees, in his head, he's a proud American. And when he's been in the locker room, and like you're saying, he plays a sport with, people of color, and he has, going back to college. So, okay, so let's put it, what Drew Brees does as a career, he's done for about 25 years now with a locker room that has a lot of diversity. And what you're saying is the key word, it's ignorance, because Drew Brees is saying hey, man, I treat everyone fair. It kind of goes back to some of the early realizations of this conversation from a week ago of not being racist is not enough. But none of Drew Brees' teammates are calling him a racist or anything like that. They're just saying he's ignorant.
Some kind of said, I knew who he was.
No, the majority of people that have come out have kind of defended him. They've been like, hey, he's a smart guy. I've had great conversations with him. He won the Walter Payton Man of the Year award in the NFL, which is supposed to be their most prestigious award. And yeah, he came out with an apology that was a little bit lackluster, a little PR-y. The picture was extremely lackluster. But it's kind of the point. And, I've had some interesting conversations with friends over the past couple of days. And this whole thing ties into police and military. And it's people, we aren't fighting that. It's just kind of this weird image of, what we picture America as, or what we picture the American flag meaning to us. And guess what? It hasn't meant the same thing to a lot of people. And, that's where, make America great again. America hasn't been great for a lot of people. Americans been a very bad time for a lot of people. So, and that's where people are getting misconstrued. And it kind of goes back to Jakey flowchart that I've been talking about. Like, we need to reset the offense on this. And the first thing is like, hey, not killing people for being black comes first. Let's get that out of the country.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what? We can all agree on that and still like the military. Guess what? We got to circle back to that at a later time because we got bigger problems.
Yeah, exactly. Like if there was one time where like, dude, why do you have to go on the show? It's so easy to not piss off your teammates there. But anyway, someone said, I'm trying to find it. They didn't tag him in it. It was like a subtweet and they didn't respond to the tweet, but it was a teammate who said something like, I knew who he was and y'all think he's Jesus. Something like playing to like, I know this dude's character, but I don't.
Yeah. I don't know. I said the ones I saw was Alvin Kamara got me good because he put oop instead of oops. And that just made me laugh because that's a good tweet. Michael Thomas said something that was kind of along those lines, not attacking Drew, but like, come on. And then there was another one that was an old teammate that was like, man, we've had a lot of heavy, deep conversations in the ice bucket, and Drew's a good dude and a smart guy, but he lived ignorant to it. So, and I think that's, the conversation I've been having with some buddies is, again, kind of this same conversation, just caring about the police. And like Dak Prescott yesterday, I don't know if you saw this, Jim. Dak Prescott donated $1 million to police training.
Yeah.
And, it made me nervous at first. And I think it does make people nervous because in theory, what happened in Minnesota doesn't get fixed by police training. Those people are, kind of racist murderers. And that's, police training isn't going to change that. So, I went through Dak's thing because I wanted to be clear about it. And on the last page, he said police training and is something about training of, racial profiling or teaching about racism and things like that. So, if the money is going to the right places, and it's just an awkward conversation right now because a lot of people are saying like, so I can't care about the police or the flag or our troops. And it's like, no, because we all do and we all want to. Yeah. But this comes first.
I was shocked when I found out that there's a contingent of Black Americans who don't celebrate July 4th. And then I read up about it. And I was like, oh yeah, okay. I get it.
Yeah.
Like, okay. This country doesn't really do anything for you, so why is that a celebration? But I was like, what? Because I was just ignorant to it. Never listened or learned. So it's crazy. But Lindsay Adler, to give her another shout out, I liked her tweet on it. She said, really interesting to me that Drew Brees seems to be the first athlete to face widespread backlash for not understanding Colin Kaepernick's message rather than backlash for understanding it. And so we have seen a little swift change there, and that's good.